The notice arrived on a Tuesday. Slid under my doormat like a threat wrapped in bureaucracy. One line jumped out. Your HOA dues will increase by 75% effective immediately due to a special community assessment. No warning. No breakdown. No discussion. Just a thinly veiled punishment. Apparently, my repeated complaints about safety violations, broken sprinklers, and neglected landscaping had triggered this special assessment. In other words, the HOA was penalizing me for noticing problems they had ignored for years. I laughed quietly at first. 15 years of paying my dues without fail, and now they thought they could squeeze me dry? Polite letters and emails followed. I asked for explanations, itemized bills, receipts, anything. Every response was a form letter, dripping with condescension. The board's decision is final. Your compliance is expected, no compliance, only strategy. I remembered a buried clause in the HOA bylaws. Any dispute over fees allowed for a mandatory financial review. Most residents ignored the fine print. Most residents were afraid. I was neither. I hired a forensic accountant, a quiet man with a pencil behind his ear, eyes that missed nothing. Weeks later, the report arrived. Every fee, every late charge, every so-called miscellaneous expense was slightly inflated. Unauthorized charges, improper approvals, and mismanaged funds littered their books, enough to trigger a legal nightmare if exposed. I didn't act immediately. I waited. When the HOA sent their first lawyer's letter, threatening fines, late fees, and possible foreclosure, I smiled. My attorney filed a demand for full disclosure of all expenditures. The board's responses grew slower, tense, and shaky. Then I escalated. I filed motions targeting every discrepancy. Unapproved charges, misallocated payments, procedural violations. Each motion carried a cost. Their cost. Court fees, attorney filings. The weight of their own mistakes grew heavy. The HOA president, once smug, now argued privately with board members. Investors questioned leadership. Members whispered among themselves. The facade of control began to crack. Months later, I filed for reimbursement of my attorney's fees, using the very rules they had written to oppress others. Legal costs had doubled, then tripled, then dwarfed the original 75% increase they had tried to impose on me. They paid every last penny. I didn't smile. Justice had no joy, only precision. Their system punished me, assuming compliance was inevitable. I repaid that arrogance with the only language it understood. Relentless, calculated, merciless. Some call it petty. I call it necessary. That night, when the final check cleared, I walked past the clubhouse, silent, unshaken. The dues hike was gone. The punishment had shifted, and I had reminded them in no uncertain terms that power is only absolute until someone decides to fight. Type payback if you think I handled this the right way. Like and subscribe for more stories.